Supercompensation is the structural adaptation phase that follows anaerobic training, but understanding when it occurs, and more importantly, why respecting the 48 to 72-hour window matters, is what separates sustainable performance gains from chronic fatigue, depending on the intensity of anaerobic activity. Sources suggest that this phase of recovery, after glycogen has been restored and homeostasis approached, the body doesn't simply return to baseline. Instead, it overcorrects, building capacity beyond what was there before. This is where lasting improvement takes effect. So what happens in those critical 48 to 72 hours? And how does supercompensation fit into the recovery sequence? Previously, we explored signals of muscle recovery, glycogen restitution. It is suggested that supercompensation operates in parallel with EPOC, the excess post-exercise oxygen consumption period. In sports physiology, recovery is not a passive state, but an active physiological process unfolding at the cellular and systemic level. However, recognizing this does not necessarily mean loading the body with more training intensity immediately after an already intense anaerobic session. A methodical and strategic recovery gap may be physiologically necessary for the supercompensation curve to complete its cycle. This depends on the type of training approach. In athletic performance, biological limits, such as energy availability, hormonal capacity, and tissue repair, are prerequisites for supercompensation. How these constraints are managed during recovery determines whether adaptive growth occurs. Understanding and leveraging this physiological process is fundamental to supporting growth. Strategically timed recovery gaps, both in duration and quality, can be essential to triggering adaptation. Without adequate recovery phases, the body cannot complete the supercompensation cycle, regardless of training stimulus. In high-performance physiology, recovery is the active phase of construction. Every high-intensity interval is a destructive signal creating an immediate drop in baseline capacity. This is merely the demolition before the rebuild. Supercompensation, the structural adaptation phase, is where lasting improvement lies. To expand and use physiological stress as a constructive trajectory, the body enters the compensation phase following the stress. It works to return to its original baseline. That's how intelligent the body is. For example, if you apply a new stress signal here, at the 24-hour mark, you are likely still below baseline, not yet returned to it. You are not maintaining, but maybe compounding the deficit. So, the supercompensation curve dictates that between 48 and 72 hours, the body overcorrects. Depending on the type of anaerobic session, it builds greater mitochondrial density and improves cardiovascular efficiency, including stroke volume adaptation, in the case of VO2 Max, or increases contractile protein content and muscle fiber cross-sectional area in the case of strength training, beyond what it previously possessed. This is the window where the potential increase occurs. Respecting this 48-hour reset allows for mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new cellular energy. This is considered a structural upgrade of the microscopic energy factories. At a cellular level, this is driven by PGC1 alpha signaling, mTOR activation, and satellite cell recruitment. For those tracking recovery precisely, a suppressed HRV may indicate the supercompensation window has not yet been reached. Training too frequently may blunt this signal, turning high-performance physiology into a chronically fatigued machine. So, for holistic and technical precision, one must consider supercompensation and respect the reset. Based on individual suitability and health status, for more nuanced segments, subscribe and go deeper with holistic high-performance health.